The forgotten prisoner for hundreds of years, she stayed alone, locked away, forgotten by her own people. Her name was Alira, but no one had spoken her name in a very long time. She was not old, not young. Her body stayed the same. Her face never aged. Her eyes still shined bright, but her heart had turned cold like stone. Long ago, her people feared her. They said she was dangerous. They said her powers could destroy worlds, but Alira never wanted to hurt anyone. She only wanted to be free, to live like everyone else. But they did not trust her. They locked her deep underground inside a hidden chamber made of metal and stone. It was dark, cold, silent, and she waited. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to years, years turned to centuries. No one came. No one remembered her. Sometimes Alira wondered if her people still lived. Maybe they all disappeared. Maybe the whole world changed. But it didn't matter. Her prison stayed the same. She counted the days at first. She sang songs from her childhood to keep herself calm. But after a while, she forgot the songs. She forgot the sound of her own voice. The silence was heavy. The darkness pressed against her. Only her mind stayed alive. Only her memories kept her company. But even the strongest mind can grow weak. Sometimes she thought she heard footsteps, but it was only the wind. Sometimes she thought someone whispered her name, but it was only her own mind playing tricks. Then one day, the impossible happened. The sound of footsteps echoed through the ruins. Real footsteps, heavy, slow, cautious. Alira stayed still, not sure if it was a dream, but the footsteps grew louder. The ground shook slightly. Dust fell from the walls. Someone was here. Her heart beat fast. It had not done that in centuries. For a moment, fear filled her chest. Maybe it was one of her people. Maybe they had finally come to end her, to finish what they started. But then a voice spoke, soft, curious, not like her people. The words were strange, but she understood them. It was the language of humans. She had heard of humans before. Long ago, small, weak creatures from a distant planet called Earth. Her people laughed at them, called them simple, harmless. But Alira never believed those stories. She always thought humans were different, curious, brave. Now, a human stood just beyond the sealed chamber door. She pressed her hand against the cold metal wall. For centuries, this wall kept her trapped. But on the other side was life, a human, real, alive. The human's voice came again. "Hello? Is anyone here?" His voice was soft, unsure. He didn't know what waited inside. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know the danger. Alira's heart ached. She hadn't heard a voice like that in so long. It made her feel strange inside. Hope and fear mixed together. She could have stayed quiet. Let him leave. Stay hidden forever. But something inside her broke. The silence was too much. The loneliness had become unbearable. She spoke. Her voice cracked, weak from centuries of silence. "Who are you?" she asked. The human gasped. He had not expected a voice to answer. I'm Alex," he said slowly. I think I'm lost." "Lost?" Alira almost laughed, but her throat was dry. A human, lost, stumbling into an ancient prison. How foolish, how strange, and yet, how lucky for her. She wanted to see him, to see another face, to feel alive again. But she also remembered the warnings, the fear. Her people locked her away for a reason. She was dangerous, they said. She could hurt others without meaning to. Maybe she could hurt this human too, but Alex did not sound afraid. His voice was soft, filled with confusion but also kindness. Alira had forgotten what kindness felt like. "Are you trapped?" he asked carefully. Alira paused. The answer was simple. Yes. She was trapped for longer than he could imagine. Yes. She whispered. There was silence for a moment. Then Alex spoke again. Do you want me to help? Help. Such a small word. Such a big offer. Illyra closed her eyes. No one had offered her help in hundreds of years. She almost forgot what it meant. But the human, this Alex, he didn't know her. He didn't know what she was. He didn't know the risk. But still, he offered. A small spark lit inside her. The first spark of hope in centuries. I don't know if you can, she replied softly, but I want you to try. Alex stepped closer. She heard the sound of metal shifting, dust falling, the seal trembling after so many silent years, and, for the first time in a very long time, Illyra believed maybe, just maybe, she wouldn't be alone anymore. The human who didn't run Alex should have run. Any normal person would have. But he didn't. When his eyes first met hers through the cracks in the ancient door, his heart stopped, but not from fear. From shock, from something else. Her eyes glowed softly in the dark, bright like frozen stars, filled with pain, anger, and something deeper, loneliness. She was not human. That much was clear. Her skin was pale like silver. Her voice was soft, but strong, carrying words that felt older than time. She had been locked away for centuries, forgotten by the galaxy, abandoned by her own people. And now, this lost human had found her. Illyra watched him closely. She expected him to scream, to run, to look at her with fear the way her people once did. But Alex didn't move. His eyes stayed locked on hers. His breathing was heavy, but he didn't step back. He didn't run away. The silence stretched between them. Only the sound of dust falling from the ancient walls filled the air. Why? Are you still here? Illyra finally asked, her voice low, confused. Alex blinked, still trying to believe what he was seeing. He had come to this abandoned planet looking for parts. His ship crashed, his communication was down, and he stumbled into the ruins, hoping for shelter. He never expected to find her. I don't know, he answered. Honestly. I should be scared, but I'm not. Illyra tilted her head slightly. No one had ever said that before. Fear was always the first thing. Fear, then hate, then silence. But this human, this weak, small creature stood there, staring at her with something strange in his eyes. Curiosity, maybe. Even concern. You are human, Illyra said, her words calm but guarded. Alex nodded. And you're not. No, she replied simply. Another moment passed. The ancient door creaked as Alex placed his hand against it, feeling the tinlo. Cold, cracked surface. Why did they lock you away? He asked softly. Illyra looked away. The memories burned like fire. Her people called her dangerous. They said her power would bring chaos. But the truth was much more complicated. And much more painful. They were afraid, she whispered. Afraid of me. Afraid of what I might become. Alex frowned. Are you dangerous? Her glowing eyes returned to his, sharp and cold at first, but then softer. There was sadness there. Deep sadness buried under layers of strength. I was never dangerous, she said quietly, until they made me this way. Alex's heart ached at her words. He didn't know her story yet. He didn't know the full truth. But in her voice, he heard pain. In her eyes, he saw the heavy weight of time. She had been alone for longer than he could understand. Do you want me to help you? He asked again, his voice steady now. Illyra hesitated. The offer was simple, but dangerous. Helping her could mean trouble. For him, for both of them. But for the first time in centuries, someone offered her more than fear. More than chains. You don't even know me, she reminded him. Alex smiled faintly. Maybe not, but I know what it feels like to be alone. For a moment, Alira said nothing. The cold silence of her prison wrapped around her again. But Alex's words broke through. Something warm spread through her chest, something she thought had died long ago. Hope. Without another word, the ancient door creaked and groaned, slowly. It began to open. Dust filled the air. The room that had held Alira prisoner for so long finally let in light, and standing there, covered in dirt and scratches, was Alex, the human who didn't run. Alira stepped forward, her silver eyes watching him carefully. He stayed still, his heart racing, but his feet firmly on the ground. Your people will look for you, she warned. They already are, Alex replied, but I'm not leaving without you. A strange feeling settled between them. Two strangers, two broken souls, and yet something connected them in that moment. Something bigger than fear, bigger than the past. For the first time in centuries, Alira wasn't just a forgotten prisoner. She was seen. The secret she hides. Alex thought he had found a lost prisoner. He thought he was saving someone, but he didn't know. She was hiding something far more dangerous than chains. The moment the ancient door opened, the air changed. It wasn't just the smell of old stone and dust. It was something heavier, older, like forgotten power waiting to wake up. Alira stepped into the weak sunlight, her silver eyes scanning the ruins. Her skin looked soft like moonlight, but Alex could feel the weight behind her calm face. She had been locked away for centuries, but not because she was weak. No, it was the opposite. Alex didn't speak at first. He followed her, watching her carefully, the way she moved. Graceful but guarded, the way her eyes shifted. Always alert, always watching the shadows. She wasn't just afraid of being found. She was afraid of herself. Alira could feel his eyes on her. She could almost hear his questions, even though he stayed quiet. Humans were easy to read. Their hearts were loud. Their thoughts simple. But Alex, there was something different about him. He wasn't running. He wasn't afraid. But he also didn't understand the risk. She stopped walking. The ruins stretched around them, silent, broken reminders of the past. She turned to face him. You think you saved me, she said softly, but you don't know what I am. Alex frowned. I know enough. You were locked away. You didn't deserve that. A bitter smile touched Alira's lips. You don't know why they locked me away. Alex crossed his arms. Then tell me. Alira looked away, her eyes darkening. The memories clawed at her mind. Long ago, her people worshipped strength. They respected power. But when Alira's power started to grow, they feared it. Not because she couldn't control it, but because of what it was connected to. It wasn't just my power, she whispered. It's inside me. Something old. Something my people buried long ago. A part of me they couldn't destroy. Alex's confusion grew. What is it? Alira hesitated. Even speaking of it could bring trouble. Her secret wasn't just a story. It was living, breathing, hiding deep in her blood, her bones. A forgotten force that her people called the curse. But it wasn't a curse to her. It was a gift. A dangerous, uncontrollable gift. Before she could answer, the ground rumbled beneath their feet. The ruins trembled. Stones cracked. Dust filled the air. Alex's eyes widened. What was that? Alira's heart raced. They know, she said under her breath. Who? Alex asked. My people, Alira whispered. They felt the seal break. They know I'm free. Alex grabbed her arm gently. Then we run. But Alira didn't move. Her eyes burned with fear and something else. You don't understand. I'm not supposed to be free. If they find me, they won't just lock me up again. They'll kill me. Alex's grip tightened. Not if I can help it. Illyra stared at him, surprised. After all these centuries, someone still believed she deserved to live. But her secret, the thing buried inside her, it wasn't done yet. As the ground shook again, a dark whisper filled the wind. It wasn't human. It wasn't natural. It was calling to her. Waking up. Alex pulled her close. Whatever secret you're hiding, I don't care, he said firmly. I'm not leaving. Illyra's eyes softened, but deep inside, the old power stirred. Her people feared it. The galaxy feared it. And now, it was waking. She wasn't just a lost prisoner. She was a living weapon, and her secret wouldn't stay hidden for long. Hunted by her own kind, the sky above them cracked with light. It wasn't thunder. It wasn't natural. It was a signal, a warning. Her people were coming. Illyra knew that glow. She had seen it before, long ago, before they locked her away. It meant one thing. The hunters had been sent, her own kind. The ones who once called her sister now wanted her dead. Alex didn't understand the danger yet. He looked at the strange lights dancing in the clouds, confused. What is that? He asked. Illyra's face turned cold. Them. The word hung in the air like ice. She didn't need to say more. Her people didn't forget. For centuries, they left her to rot in that prison. But the moment the seal broke, the moment she tasted freedom, they sensed it. And they wouldn't let her go so easily. Alex grabbed his backpack and looked at her. We have to go. Illyra hesitated. Running wouldn't stop them. They could track her across worlds. They had the technology, the ships, the weapons. But what choice did she have? Staying meant death. They ran through the ruins, across the rocky cliffs. The ground shook under their feet as the sky above burned with golden lines, the mark of her people's ships. Alex's breathing grew heavy. He wasn't like her. His body wasn't built for this, but he didn't slow down. His hand found hers, strong and warm. It surprised Illyra. No one had touched her like that in so long. Where? Do we go? Alex asked between breaths. Far from here, Illyra replied. But it won't be enough. Alex frowned. Why not? They can smell my power. They will chase me until I'm gone. Alex stopped, his eyes filled with fire. Not while I'm here. Illyra looked at him, confused. Humans were weak compared to her kind. His words were brave, but foolish. Yet, there was something real in his eyes. Something unshaken. You don't know what you're saying, she warned. I don't care, Alex said. I'm not letting them hurt you. The ground rumbled again. A loud hum filled the air. The hunters were close now. Their ships, sleek, sharp, dangerous, appeared over the mountains, their lights cutting through the clouds like knives. Illyra's heart sank. Memories flooded back. The cold cells, the metal chains. The way they looked at her with fear, with hate. They didn't care about truth, only control. But now, she wasn't alone. Alex pulled her behind the broken walls of a fallen building. They hid in the shadows as the ships passed overhead. They won't stop, Illyra whispered, even if we hide. Alex's jaw clenched. Then we fight. Illyra stared at him. Fight? She had forgotten what it meant to fight for herself. To stand, to resist. For so long, she believed she deserved the chains. That her powers were a curse. That her people were right to fear her. But now, this foolish, brave human stood beside her, ready to face them all. Maybe. It was time to stop running. The hunters' voices echoed across the land, speaking in their ancient language. Find her, kill her, no mistakes. Illyra's eyes narrowed. Her power, locked away for centuries, pulsed under her skin. If they wanted to hunt her, they would soon learn. She wasn't so easy to catch. Her power. Awakens. The first crack of energy came without warning. It was small, a shimmer of light under her skin, but it was enough to change everything. For centuries, her power slept, locked away like her heart. But now, it was waking. Illyria stood behind the broken walls, her breath slow, her eyes glowing. Faintly in the dark, the hunters were close. Their ships circled the sky like vultures, searching for her. The ground shook with the hum of engines. Their voices called her name like a threat, cold and sharp. Alex stayed by her side. His eyes moved quickly, searching for a way out. He was human, fragile, breakable, and yet he stood with her. No fear, no doubt. Illyria could feel it building, the ancient power buried deep in her blood. It whispered to her, calling like an old friend. She had pushed it down for so long. But now it refused to stay silent. Illyria, Alex whispered. There. Getting closer. She nodded, her hands curling into fists. I know, but what can we do? He asked. We can't outrun them. Illyria's silver eyes burned brighter. We won't run. For the first time, Alex saw it, the storm beneath her calm face. The power her people feared. The reason. They locked her away. It wasn't a curse. It wasn't weakness. It was strength. The ground under their feet cracked. Thin lines of glowing blue light spread across the stones like veins. The air pulsed. The ruins trembled. Alex took a step back, eyes wide. What's happening? My power, Illyria said softly. It's awake. The hunters landed nearby, their sharp weapons drawn. They moved like shadows, silent, fast, deadly. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. They came to finish what they started centuries ago, but they were too late. The ruins exploded with light. Blue energy burst from Illyria's hands, cracking the stone, shaking the sky. The hunters stumbled, unprepared for the force that had slept for so long. Illyria rose slowly, her hair lifting with the energy swirling around her. Her eyes were not just glowing now, they were alive with power. The hunters shouted orders. There. Weapons fired, beams of light slicing through the air. But the energy around Illyria swallowed the attacks like smoke. The air rippled with heat. The ground shook like an angry beast. Alex could only watch, frozen in shock. The woman who looked so small, so quiet, was now brighter than the sun, more powerful than anything he had ever seen. Illyria lifted her hand. The ground split open. Cracks raced toward the hunters, swallowing them in a burst of blue fire. Their ship shook, alarm screaming. The hunters retreated, fear in their eyes. The same fear her people had centuries ago. But this time, Illyria wasn't hiding. She turned to Alex, her voice calm, steady, but filled with warning. This is why they locked me away. Alex stared at her, breathless. You're incredible. Illyria almost smiled. For the first time, someone saw her power and didn't look away in fear. The hunters were gone. For now, but they would return, stronger, angrier. But Illyria wasn't afraid anymore. Her power was no longer sleeping, and this time, she was ready to use it. The truth of her heart. The universe feared her, but no one ever asked what was in her heart. For so long, Illyria believed what they told her, that she was a threat, that her power was dangerous, that love was a weakness. Her people taught her to hide her feelings, to lock them away like they locked her in that prison. But Alex, he changed everything. As they floated through the cold silence of space, Illyria sat quietly in the small human ship. Her silver eyes stared at the stars, lost in thought. For the first time, she wasn't running. The hunters were gone, at least. For now, but the questions in her mind chased her faster than any enemy. Alex sat across from her, fixing a broken wire in the ship. He noticed her quiet eyes, her calm face. But he could feel the storm inside her. You haven't spoken in hours. Alex said softly. Illyria blinked, pulling herself back to the present. There's nothing to say, Alex tilted his head. I don't believe that, she stayed silent. The words were heavy, buried under years of pain. Illyra, you can trust me, Alex said. His voice was steady, gentle. Whatever you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. Her eyes flickered. She had carried this secret for so long. It felt like part of her skin. But Alex, he didn't run when she showed him her power. He didn't run when the hunters attacked. Maybe. He wouldn't run from the truth either. They locked me away, Illyra began, her voice low. Not because of what I could do, but because of what I felt. Alex frowned. What you felt? Illyra nodded. Love, hope, connection. Her fingers tightened on her knees. My people fear those things. They believe love makes us weak, that emotions cloud the mind. But I loved once, and it almost destroyed everything. Alex stayed quiet, listening. His name was Kale. Illyra continued. Long ago, before the chains, before the prison, he made me believe love was safe, but the council found out. They said I was distracted, unfit, dangerous. Her voice broke for a moment, the memory sharp like broken glass. They didn't just punish me. They killed him. Then they locked me away like a broken tool. Alex's chest tightened with anger. That's cruel. It's their way, Illyra whispered. To them, power must be cold, emotionless. But love, it's a fire they can't control. Alex's hand rested gently on hers. Then they're cowards. Illyra's eyes widened slightly. No one had ever called them that. No one had dared. You're not weak because you feel, Alex continued. You're strong because you still care after everything. For the first time, her heart trembled not with fear, but with something warmer. Hope, trust, maybe. Love, but the moment was short. A sharp beep filled the ship. The screen flashed red. They found us, Alex said, reading the signal. Illyra's eyes hardened. The hunters were close. Her people hadn't given up, but this time, she wasn't. Hiding her heart, she stood, her voice strong. Let them come. Because now, she wasn't fighting alone. Asterisk, she finally belongs for the first time in her life. Illyra was not afraid to be seen. The sky above them was filled with ships. Her people had come. Hundreds of them. Their sleek, silver crafts floated like silent predators blocking out the stars. Their weapons were ready. Their eyes were cold. They didn't come to talk. They came to finish what they started centuries ago, but Illyra, she was not the same scared girl they locked away. She stood on the rocky plain beside Alex. Her silver hair moved with the wind. Her eyes glowed softly, not with fear, but with strength. Her heart, once frozen, now burned with something far more dangerous than power. Love. The leaders of her people stepped forward. Their voices echoed across the empty land. You have no place among us, they declared. You are a mistake. Illyra's lips curled into a small smile. Their words no longer hurt her. She had believed them once. Not anymore. Alex stood beside her. His presence alone made her feel stronger. He didn't have powers. He didn't have weapons. But his courage, his belief in her, it was enough. I don't belong to you, Illyra answered, her voice calm and sharp. Not anymore. The council's eyes narrowed. You are a threat. You always were. Illyra raised her hand. The air rippled with blue light. Her power, once locked away, now flowed freely. The ground beneath them hummed. The sky flickered. I was never the threat, Illyra whispered. Your fear was. For a moment, silence stretched across the plain. Her people shifted, uncertain for the first time. They had seen her locked up, silent, hidden. But now, she stood proud, unchained, alive. Alex stepped closer, his voice steady. She's not alone. Not anymore. The council hesitated, the power in Alira's eyes, the fire in Alex's words. It shook them in ways their weapons never could. They could destroy cities, they could control planets, but they couldn't control the human heart. They couldn't destroy love. Alira took a deep breath. She had spent centuries in chains, centuries believing she didn't belong. But now, she understood. She belonged to herself. And with Alex beside her, nothing could take that away. The council stepped back, their eyes full of fear, not of her power, but of the truth she carried. They couldn't chain love. They couldn't silence her heart. Alira smiled, turning away from them. For the first time in centuries, she wasn't running. She wasn't hiding. She finally belonged.